name is Nevada and I am the chairman of this debate. The timekeeper is Fatima. This debate will be judged by a panel of 3 adjudicators, who are Miss Jihan, Miss Kerrison, and Mr. Parcelides. The topic of tonight's debate is that schools should ban mullets. The affirmative team seated to my right is from Parkside Primary School, and the negative team seated to my left is from Norwood International High School. The speaking time for this debate is 3 minutes. A single warning bell will sound at 1 minute for the speaking time, and a double bell will sound at the speaking time. Please ensure that your mobile phones are switched off. I declare this debate open and call upon the first affirmative speaker, Jerusha.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for tonight's debate is that schools should ban mullets. Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines mullet as a hairstyle in which the hair is short on the sides and top and is long at the back. We define school as a place where children go to study. Oxford Dictionary defines ban as legally or officially prohibited. We, the affirmative team, strongly believe that this statement is undeniably true. Today, as first speaker, I will be talking to you about my 3 points. How most schools have a uniform policy and the hairstyle is no different. Many schools agree to ban the mullet and that mullets have an unprofessional look. Our second speaker will be talking about how schools are allowed to protect their image and there are other means of self-expression. Our third speaker will rebut and sum up our team case. Now to my first point. Most schools have a uniform policy and the hairstyle is no different. In a recent newsletter, Trinity College in Perth described its ban on the retro hairstyle. The newsletter claims that the college establishes without reservations specified regulations that protect health and safety, as well as a high degree of personal presentation. Parents and guardians agree to the school's policy when enrolling children, and maintaining neat and tidy hairstyles is not too much to ask. Stated by SA.gov, in Australia, each school or school system can set its own uniform policy. Why is this any different with hairstyles? Also, The Conversation has found a recent study that using data from 39 countries found in schools with tighter uniform policies, including hair restrictions, did help students to be better behaved. They also found that requiring everyone to wear a uniform leads to advantageous outcomes, including improved academic performance and attendance, and enhanced student discipline. Therefore, schools should ban mullets. Now to my second point. Many schools agree to ban the mullet. The publication reports that Waverley College isn't the only school that has banned the retro style, with Snowy Mountains Grammar School and Bathurst Scots All Saints College both banning the controversial hairstyle. Finally, to my third point, mullets have an unprofessional look. According to the American Psychological Association, when discussing discrimination, even though we shouldn't discriminate people based on appearance, it is still a natural human behavior to categorize people even based on a haircut. Celebrity hairdresser Joe Bailey told the Daily Telegraph, "I don't think they're pretty. They're not flattering and they kind of scream bogan." As quoted by 7 News, Waverley College has banned mullets because of the reason that just as many workplaces have expectations of presentation. The college expects its students to adhere to a dress code that includes neat hair, the statement said. Teaching students about professionalism and presentation will support them to adhere to dress codes that include neat hair in workplaces. So, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we, the affirmative team, without any hesitation, firmly believe that schools should ban mullets. Thank you.
call upon the first negative speaker, Jennifer Luca.
Good evening, Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for our debate is that mullets should be banned at school. We agree with the definition given by the affirmative team, but disagree with the topic up for debate. Today, as first speaker, I'll be talking to you about how banning mullets tells young people what they can and cannot look like, and how banning mullets because they are different can become discrimination. Our second speaker will be talking about how mullets restrain students from expressing themselves at school and how mullets are very practical. Our third speaker will rebut and sum up our team case. The first speaker of the affirmative team has tried to tell you that mullets are untidy and that students are expected to conduct themselves and present themselves in a professional manner. While this is true, mullets aren't necessarily and inherently untidy. The first affirmative speaker has also tried to tell you that they are unsafe and go against health regulations. This is untrue because mullets keep hair out of your face and can also be tied up. They have also said that they are controversial, and while this may have been the case 40 years ago when they first started to emerge, since it has been decades, they are no longer that much of an issue. I will be discussing 2 points. My first point is that banning mullets tells young people what they can and cannot look like. This is because if schools get rid of mullets, it tells students that they don't have a choice and should just do what they're told. This can lead to rebellion amongst students and a surge in mullet hairstyles. According to the renowned non-profit Medical Center for Clinical Care, Cleveland Clinic, being told not to do something will likely result in people doing it anyway. This is caused by humans subconsciously wanting independence and autonomy. And Jane Panotto Airman, a leading behavioral health therapist, states that, quote, "Rebellion is ingrained into our culture and brains from a young age. Everyone has some form of inner rebel that doesn't like being told what to do," end quote. This shows that forcing children to not have mullets may lead them to ignoring the new ban put in place out of spite. This makes it clear that mullets should not be banned at school, especially if getting rid of them is the aim. Now to my second point, which is banning mullets because they are different can likely become discrimination. Mullets are primarily worn by boys. Many girls have long hair and no attempt has been made to ban this style. If we ban mullets because they're too long while not banning long hair for girls, this is discriminating against boys. Discrimination on the grounds of gender is unlawful under the Sex Discrimination Act of 1984. This can also lead to the idea that people who are different or part of minorities are adverse. Numerous cultures around the globe have mullets. An example is some of the Native Americans who had mullets as a sign of spiritual strength, according to historian Emmy Cosgrove. Mullets were also worn back in Neanderthal times and by high-class colonials. These are some of the many people and cultures that have donned mullets. This means that banning mullets can impact cultural expression and following traditions and could amount to racial discrimination under the Racial Discrimination Act of 1975. This means that it is very clear that mullets should not be banned at school. So, Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we, the negative team, firmly believe that mullets should not be banned at school. Thank you.
call upon the second affirmative speaker, Talia Linmore.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for tonight's debate is that schools should ban mullets. We, the affirmative team, strongly believe that this statement is undoubtedly true. The first affirmative speaker has tried to tell you that mullets are discriminative. Channel News has found that many schools insist that the mullet does not adhere to their rules, which require high grooming standards and respect for authority. Independent and private schools across Australia are considering banning the mullet for its breach to the school system's dress code and unprofessionalism. According to The Advertiser, psychological research reveals that presentation is crucial and should be explicitly taught to students. This is another reason why we should ban mullets in schools. Our first speaker has already stated to you that schools have uniform policies that include hairstyles too, and that many schools agree to ban the mullet and that mullets have an unprofessional look. I, as the second speaker, will be speaking to you about how schools should have the right to protect their image and there are other means of self-expression. Now to my first point, that schools have the right to protect their image. As our first speaker made abundantly clear, mullets are regarded as being unprofessional. According to Business News, schools claim that having neat, tidy hairstyles enhances the school's public image. ABC News reported on a psychological study that parents tend to base their decisions on general student appearance when choosing a school, this then having serious influence on school enrolment numbers. This demonstrates why a school's reputation is crucial and also why the mullet should be prohibited in schools. While this may not always be the case, mullets have negative connotations to violent criminals and a laid-back mentality way of life, according to 7 News. This is not what schools desire in their safe learning environment. Julian Olmedo, a senior lecturer in psychology at Swinburne University, shares, "I assume that schools or other objectors still have negative associations with the mullet and desire to distance themselves from those. Therefore, schools should unquestionably ban mullets. There are countless distinctive ways for students." Now to my second point. There are other means of self-expression. The question of self-expression is actually the most compelling argument against banning mullets. Barber Martin McErney, in an interview with CNA, stated, "Students grow their mullets over Christmas, but know they have to abide by the rules when they go back, because the school doesn't permit them. Schools are therefore not banning mullets from existence, but just during the school period, when learning should be the focus. As vital as self-expression is, showing it externally through one's hair isn't the only way to do so. There are countless distinctive ways for students to express their individuality and personality. For example, through sharing interests, verbal interactions, and artistic expression. You've heard the saying, don't judge a book by its cover. People learn so much more about each other if it's not just based on a shallow haircut. Thus, schools should undoubtedly ban mullets to support and promote self-expression through the building of relationships instead. So, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, you now know that schools should unquestionably ban mullets. Thank you.
I call upon the second negative speaker, Claire Lee.
Good afternoon, Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for our debate is that schools should ban mullets. We, the negative team, firmly believe that this statement is false. The second affirmative speaker has tried to tell you that there are other forms of self-expression. While this statement may be true, it is irrelevant because it should be the children's choice on how they express themselves, and schools must not cut off a form of expression completely. Students spend 30 hours at school each week, and this ban can affect their well-being. They also said that mullets are unruly and damages schools' reputation. This is wrong because mullets can be neat and tied back. This is also wrong as the reputation of several schools have plummeted after the mullet ban and received more backlash than before when students wore the haircut. Our first speaker has already stated that banning mullets at schools tells young people what they can and cannot look like, and that banning mullets can lead to possible discrimination. I'll be discussing 2 points. My first point is that banning the mullet will restrain students from expressing themselves at school. Hairstyle is an important part of identity and self-expression, and banning it will deprive many students of expression. People's preferences for hairstyles reflect their identities. Freedom of expression is a right enshrined in Article 19 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and mullets being banned is a definite breach of this right. The right to be able to express themselves must not be disturbed by an education provider. According to education expert Shona Hendley, the mullet can compress self-expression and will eventually be detrimental to students' mental health and well-being. Banning a hairstyle is like banning a vehicle of expression and identity and can have an impact on students' well-being and mental health. My second point is that mullets are a practical haircut suitable for school environments and therefore must not be banned. Mullets are a haircut that is short in the front and sides and long in the back, and share similarities with the typical ponytail. They are an excellent hairstyle choice as they are not distracting to others, are appropriate, and are also very safe and practical for school environments. According to secondary educator Chris Olsen, a mullet is extremely practical, especially in creative technology such as woodwork, as hair is not in the face and will not fall onto surfaces. Furthermore, there is no suggestion that mullets have a detrimental impact, and banning them will be banning a perfectly practical haircut. So, Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we, the negative team, firmly believe that mullets should not be banned at schools, since banning mullets restrains self-expression and because mullets are a practical haircut great for the school environment. I'd like to end my speech with a quote from Western Australian Premier Mark McGowan. I would like to encourage people with a mullet to rise up. Thank you.
call upon the third affirmative speaker, Minnie Sign, please.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for tonight's debate is that schools should ban mullets. We, the affirmative team, strongly believe that this topic is undoubtedly true. The negative team has tried to tell you that mullets are associated with outdated stereotypes. Whilst this may be a positive, mullets still have associations with negative consequences. While it may not always be the case, mullets have connotations to violent criminals and of laid-back mentality and way of life, according to 7 News. This is not what schools desire in their safe learning environment. Julian Oldmeadow, a senior lecturer in psychology at Swinburne University in Victoria, shares, "I assume that schools or other objectives still have negative associations with mullets and desire to distance themselves with those. Thus, schools should ban mullets, and the negative team is deeply mistaken." The negative team has tried to tell you that this limits self-expression. As vital as self-expression is, showing it through one's hair isn't the only way to do so. There are countless other distinctive ways for students to express their individuality and personality without needing a mullet. And this goes deeper than what's on the outside. Whilst it may seem pedantic and unnecessary to ban the mullet, this prepares students for adulthood and potential professional careers which need a professional look. Also, according to the Advertiser, a psychological research reveals that the presentation is crucial and should be explicitly taught to students. Therefore, schools should ban the mullet, and the negative team is deeply mistaken again. The negative team has tried to tell you that there's a backlash of schools without the mullet. Whilst this may be true, the negative team hasn't supported their case and argument with evidence nor research. The negative team could be forcing this point without due consideration to the facts of the debate. Thus, the negative team is mistaken, and we could not believe this point. Our first speaker has already told you that most schools have a uniform policy and a haircut is no different. She also said that many schools agree to ban the mullet, and mullets are unprofessional. Our second speaker went on to tell you that there are more ways of self-expression, and schools are allowed to protect their public image seen to the public. I, as our third speaker, rebut and summed up our team case. So in conclusion, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, we, the affirmative team, strongly believe that mullets should undoubtedly be banned in schools. I would like to finish my debate with a quote by Nia Long. "I think it's a beautiful thing when you wear a uniform which represents a group of people, because what it immediately symbolizes is oneness, togetherness." Thank you.
call upon the third negative speaker, CJ Parkins.
Good afternoon, Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for our debate is that schools should ban mullets. We, the negative team, strongly believe that this statement is false. The first affirmative speaker has tried to tell you that mullets should be banned because they are not neat, as well as the fact that they are unsafe and a health hazard. This is clearly untrue, seeing as it is such a practical haircut, seeing as that the sides of the hair wouldn't fall onto your face, and most mullets are short at the top so that they wouldn't fall over your eyes. They could also be tied back into a ponytail, man bun, or just simply tucked back behind in your shirt so it wouldn't fall on anything. This would also disregard ponytails, seeing as they too are long and be able to be tied back, as well as can be messy, but we don't see schools trying to ban those. The second affirmative speaker has also tried to tell you that there are other forms of expression. While this may be true, high colleges where these mullets are getting banned, it's increasingly more difficult to be able to express yourself, seeing as they didn't give any examples. I'll give some for you. Nail polish in those schools, banned. Rings, bracelets, necklaces, makeup that isn't natural, banned. Other form of hairstyles that go over the eyebrows or down below the neck, banned. They also said that mullets don't adhere to the dress code. Obviously they do. A mullet can be completely neat and tidy, as well as fit in with any rules about shaving or length. They also tried to associate gangs, bogans, and mullets. While this may be true, it is still just a stereotype, seeing as that there is an Australian renowned charity, Mullets for Mental Health, which has so far raised over $1 million for mental health for men, women, and all people. Well, they also said that you should not try and judge a book by its cover. This goes the same way with mullets, seeing as they are being hypocritical, seeing as they are associating these banned mullets with gangs, violence, bogans. Seems a bit hypocritical to me. Our first speaker has spoke to you about how banning mullets tells young people what they can and cannot do or look like. They have also said that banning mullets can become a form of discrimination. Our second speaker has told you about how banning the mullet will restrain students from expressing themselves at school. This is because the hairstyle is an important part of identity and self-expression, and banning it would deprive many students of this thing. So, Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we the negative team firmly believe that mullets should not be banned in schools for the sake of the students' rights, well-being, and identity. Thank you.
Will the adjudicators finalise the result, I will read this evening's chairman's notices. Please see the information desk following your debate regarding guest limits at the award presentations on Thursday, 3rd November 2022. Each team has been allocated 9 places and we need to collect names and contact their details by this weekend. Grand finals will be held at Parliament House on Saturday, the 24th of September 2022. Please refer to the Debating Essay website for times and all are welcome to attend. There is no need to RSVP.
The newsrooms are quite packed, there's not a lot of room. So tonight you will have noticed that the debate was judged by a panel of 3 different adjudicators. We each reached our decision individually. We did have to go outside there just to double check what decision we each came to, and then also to decide on a person to award the debating award to. But yeah, the individual decisions reached individually. Because there were 3 of us and because it's an individual decision, there's no individual speaker feedback for each of you tonight, as was the case with the quarterfinals. I will announce the winner of tonight's debate and also deliver a debating award, however. Firstly, a big congratulations to both teams on making it to the semi-finals. It's really an achievement. The debate was very high quality and very close, so you're both to be commended. Really well done. I can announce that tonight was a split decision of 2 to 1, but we have awarded the debate to the affirmative team. Congratulations. I can announce that we have awarded the debating award to the 3rd negative speaker, CJ, for excellent presentation and rebuttal. Shannon, if you want to do the votes, thanks.
I call upon a member of the runner-up team to give a vote of thanks.
First, I'd like to congratulate the affirmative team on winning. We hope that in the grand finals that you also win. I'd like to thank the adjudicators and my team, and also my amazing coach, Sally Weavers. I'd also like to thank everyone for coming here tonight. Thank you.
I call upon a member of the winning team to second that vote of thanks.
We'd like to thank the opposing team because that was like the toughest debate by far. Like you guys are so good at presenting and you had amazing evidence in your rebuttals, and the audience for coming down and spending their time to watch us, and definitely the adjudicators for like helping us like structure this debate. So thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attendance. I now declare this debate closed.